Welcome to our live today. We're going to be talking about essential oils as well as restless leg syndrome, and we'll probably diverse.
And of course, I'll throw in a few homeopathics while we're at it.
I know we're going to go off a little bit into Charlie horses. I don't know if that's a precursor to restless leg syndrome or not, but after reading and writing this blog, every time I do those tiniest little twitch in my leg, I thought, I always thought it was an indicator that I was going to do a Charlie horse. And I've only ever done one of those in my life. May I never, ever do another one.
I don't know if I did restless leg or Charlie horses or what I did during pregnancy, but my mother said that was the only pregnancy symptom that I had.
Yeah.
Other than getting around tummy.
Yeah, I did. I'd never had any twitches in my legs. I had no indication that all of a sudden that leg just locked up. I thought somebody was stabbing me with a knife. It hurt so bad. I screamed. My husband woke up. What? And I told him. He immediately grabs my leg and starts rubbing it as hard as he can. It felt so much better. I'm like, how did you know to do that? He goes, it's just a Charlie horse. And I just wanted to hit him. There's no just anything. Oh, yeah.
There's no just to restless leg syndrome either.
So I got on some liquid calcium, some liquid magnesium, and I didn't do another one. And every time I do the tiniest little twitch in my legs, I think, no, I'm never doing that again. That hurts so bad.
You've only ever done one. I don't have enough fingers or toes to count the ones I did when I was younger.
So when I read through this restless leg and when we were studying it and writing it, that was my thought. This sounds like very similar to Charlie horses, only just milder.
The need to get up to move. There's no need to get up to move with a Charlie horse. You just want to die in place.
No, that's true. So let's start off by telling you what is restless leg syndrome. Many people who suffer from what is termed as restless leg syndrome, they use the word syndrome, and that's like a name for a disease. And that
it isn't. The word syndrome really means that it has too many causes. They don't know what causes it, and they don't know really what makes it go away. They can drug the pain and they can drug the symptom, but it means they don't know. So when you see chronic fatigue syndrome, when you see, who knows?
What I find interesting is the many different ways that people describe it. And the only thing that the people have in common with the way they describe it is that it's difficult to describe. And that tells me that it could be a lot of things. It could be throbbing, it can be pulling, it can be itching or burning. But basically your legs hurt.
Burning, it's nerve.
And you want to move. And you want to sleep and you want to move, and you can't do both at the same time. So
why the irresistible urge to move? It's because movement does seem to relieve the symptoms somewhat.
Either it activates the nerves or it gets blood flowing,
and I think there's a little bit of a psychological undercomponent too that
really
makes moving. We'll get to that in a little bit.
Okay, so symptoms. So you're itching, throbbing, pulling, crawling, burning. There's that strong urge to get up and move your legs. The symptoms start or get worse when you're sitting or laying down, and they're relieved at least partially by getting up, stretching, and walking.
And oddly enough, they're better in the morning. Most restless leg syndrome people wake up with no pain, even though they've been sitting still. It's not an early morning thing, and that's always seemed odd to me.
There is a relief of the symptoms. It's only temporary by movement.
And one of the reasons they call it a syndrome is because there doesn't seem to be any pattern to it from one sufferer. I mean, each sufferer has her own pattern, but from person to person, it doesn't seem to, except that it's better in the early morning.
But it's not as frequent, but sometimes a symptom can be that the leg muscles tighten or even flex when the person is holding still. And that is the only symptom of restless leg I have ever had, and I've always figured it was a precursor to Charlie horses.
That is.
So I'm not sure that maybe I'm headed for restless leg. Maybe I'm headed for more Charlie horses.
Maybe you're mineral deficient. That's
maybe it's just a mineral deficiency.
Yeah. Or a circulatory issue.
And I don't know, but I wondered if restless leg doesn't also have some components to the lymphatic system, and when we lay down, it gets slower, and
that's why movement, because that
movement helps get it started again. So another symptom of restless leg syndrome, kind of an obvious one, would be a lack of sleep.
Well done.
Hello. But that can get the symptoms to get worse when you're not getting adequate sleep. So like she said, the symptoms are often worse at night, and when you are living under increased levels of stress, that will bring on attacks or bouts of restless leg.
So let's go statistics for a minute. 7 to 10% of the population of the United States. So
that's quite a few people.
Transfers to about 30 million. That's a lot of people. More often in women than men, although, twice as likely, but it's still both. Begin at any age. I've seen children suffer from it. person ages, that sometimes get worse, but I think that's probably a nutritional aspect.
That could be scary if you started it as a child.
And it's going to get worse. Family connection, if one family member has it and there's likelihood of the others, I wonder if that's heredity or environment, the way the family eats, the way they exercise or don't.
Increases your statistical chances of getting it.
Periodic limb movement of sleep. I told Valerie this morning I was going to get personal and talk about her dad. She says, "Why would you do that?" It's because
it fits into a T.
The last year or so, he will, I don't know if they're nightmares or what, but it's as though he is running away in his sleep. We have a California king-size bed, and it is not big enough, trust me.
When he decides to go running
for the first time the other night, he literally, his fist came. I had just rolled over, thank goodness. It caught me on the back of the shoulder instead right across the nose. But I've learned to roll out of bed really fast. In fact, I keep a big pillow by the side of the bed.
You're going for a walk, I'm leaving.
It's very rare, and he wakes immediately, but I don't know what it is, but we have increased his mineral intake and are doing some various things that it seems to have lightened. It's been a couple of weeks now. So, hey,
So now that we have established what the symptoms are and living with it is absolutely no fun, and living with someone who's living with it is no fun.
Anyway, my husband does not have any of the other symptoms of RLS.
Just that.
And it's almost always the two are connected. He doesn't do the restless leg syndrome in any other form. So
just that.
I don't know what it is.
Let's talk about some of the causes. And like we said, the medical world doesn't have and he doesn't know what's causing it. And so this is speculation of what we
everybody,
think.
Them and us.
Yep. And
there's no them and us.
And I don't think that what causes it in everybody is exactly the same. And so that makes it hard. Melinda Shoden's got a comment. She says toxin overload. I tell my clients to soak their feet at least 40 minutes using your cilantro oil and white vinegar or sea salt and clay. Most of them state that it helps. Yes, I think toxins play a huge
So repeat that again. Cilantro oil
and either white vinegar or sea salt and your clay. Most of them say that it helps. Yeah, I think the lymph system plays a huge part in it.
Our foot soaker made a difference to me when we first got it.
So we're going to talk about a couple of things that might be causing it. The lymph is definitely a huge one, and foot soaks would definitely be very helpful.
So nerve damage, that one kind of baffled me because neuropathy is a separate diagnosis, and yet in my years of foot zoning, I found the two kind of walk hand in hand too often. So 40%, of people that have RLS will have neuropathy too. That's not 40% isn't 100%, but it's still a pretty high statistical connection. So anyway, so what causes neuropathy? There's a hard question.
Nerve damage. I think that's nutrition. It comes down to not feeding the nerves what they need. So another cause a lot of times is circulation, having poor circulation, especially to the lower half of the body, that can bring on RLS symptoms or
that
RLS.
Was a lot of it for me, the circulation and the next two that we'll talk about.
Yep, having good vein health and good capillary health is a huge thing too. And so you kind of need to look at yourself and go, okay, I know I've got poor circulation, or I know that I've got these spider veins, or what other symptoms do you have, and when you might not be connecting them, that might give you a lot of clues as to what's causing it and where to go from there.
Kind of remember that it isn't a one symptom only. You could be doing 3 or 4 of them at the same time.
You could have some nerve damage, you could have some nutritional deficiencies, you could have some stagnant lymph, you could be doing several of them.
If you're calcium deficient, you will have nerve damage.
I do believe that calcium and magnesium and other minerals play a massive dose into it. We've found that a lot of people, if they're having a hard time sleeping with insomnia, taking a few drops of calcium and magnesium liquid right before they go to bed will help them sleep a ton better. And so I would be interesting to try that. And I do when I'm doing any type of little jumpies in my legs or even the slightest bit of Charlie horse. I do it in a lot of times anyway, just because I sleep better when I take it. So, but another way to get good minerals would be with mineral tea. You can just buy the mineral dry herb pack and just make a good mineral tea to make sure that you're getting a good amount of nutrition.
That's a good one. I like that one as a tea.
Yep.
I should do that more often.
So another thing that can bring on restless leg, and I don't know that this is really a cause so much as I don't know how I call it a cause, but pregnancy is definitely stressful and adds to your nutritional
as
demand.
A midwife, let's tie this together, okay? The connection between pregnancy and restless leg to me is iron deficiency.
Anemia.
Well, because there's a high statistical connection. And there was one study that I came across, it was studying restless leg, looking at brain tissue as, iron deficiency in the brain tissue. And I thought, well, that's silly. because to have iron deficiency in your brain, you first had to have it in your blood, because the blood is what's feeding the brain. They could have poked a person's finger and figured that out easier.
You wouldn't have to have tested the brain tissue.
Anyway, but pregnancy, besides, well, anemia, blood volume, a woman will have 1.5 times as much blood in her body at the end, and keeping enough white blood cells to make that blood oxygen carrying means you change your nutrition. You eat differently than you did before pregnancy.
Yep.
Then you got the weight of the baby and the placenta sitting on those circulatory things, so you got anemia going on and compromised circulation at the same time.
And that can often bring on.
And then there's the heartburn thing, and women start swallowing Tums, which is what I did, which has got to be the greatest way to stress your kidneys and make your calcium absorption worse. It's a recipe for gallstones and kidney stones, which I also did during my pregnancy years. It just becomes a vicious circle. So get your men from Minty. Don't do it from Tums.
If I were doing restless leg syndrome in any way at all, I would definitely really, really try to support the kidneys, either with KB tincture.
Absolutely.
Revitalized oil is one of my favorite ways to give my kidneys a boost. I don't drink soda. I'm not a soda drinker, but I definitely try to make sure I'm drinking enough water. I don't say I don't ever drink soda, because
I do once in a while.
I will have a huckleberry soda or homemade root beer. I can be bribed occasionally, but it's very rare.
So my
kidneys just won't handle it.
This kidney thing, it's like, it doesn't matter if it's because your kidneys are struggling or because you're stressing them with what you eat, or if it's your tendency to live in fear and negativity. It doesn't matter. If your kidneys are stressed, your legs are going to twitch and itch and ache and
be compromised.
And be nasty. That's the way that is.
Digestive issues could also play a huge bit of it. And we're not going to take the time to go into a ton, but we wrote a blog on Candida and digestive issues. There's actually a couple of different blogs, but the Candida blog and the gut health blog would be great places to start if you were trying to clean it up and perhaps consider that there was a connection between your gut health and your restless leg syndrome. Another thing that seems to aggravate it a lot is alcohol, nicotine, and caffeine.
Yeah. So.
All of those things that tend to add to it. There are medications that are used to combat RLS, but we don't know a whole lot about drugs. We're here to talk about oils.
My dad's new wife is a nurse, and she's always throwing these drug words at me, and I don't know those.
You don't know them?
But the anatomy, I can keep up with her, yeah.
The one thing that we do know is that a lot of the drugs that help with RLS tend to stress the kidneys even more. And so first, the people who start off with compromised kidneys, it might not be a very good idea.
One thing in studying medications connection to RLS that caught my attention was the fact that most allergy medications, particularly the older ones, the ones they were using 20, 30, 40 years ago, compromise kidneys in such a way as to cause RLS. And as a child and a young person during my pregnancy years, I was living on allergy medications and wondering why I was struggling with my kidneys and doing restless leg syndrome,
So as we start to look at solutions and what oils to use, it's very important to understand that it's probably not one of the above causes. It's probably a combination of several.
A tricky kidney and anemia at the same time, or a circulatory issue, or a lymph issue combined with.
Too much caffeine and medications or gut health. And depending on what the cause is, your remedies will be different. Your solutions from an herbal perspective will be different. And so we're going to talk about some possible solutions. We are going to go into herbs and oils and a bit of homeopathy, but we really want to start with possible lifestyle changes. And if caffeine or drugs or what's the word I'm looking for, stressing out your kidneys, probably the best lifestyle change is to give them up.
Oh, duh.
I can't help you beyond that. Okay, so one of the major
don't let me be rude, but
I'm in a mood today. I'm sorry. Okay, baths and massages, and both of these I think are really beneficial to the lymph system. Warm baths increase the circulation and they increase the lymph drainage. And massage, the number one reason to get a massage is to give your lymph system a boost. Not to mention that it's relaxing and me time. So both of those are great for helping with sleep issues.
Speaking of relaxing baths, I came across a poem when I was just starting to have your kids. And it said when a mother is in the tub, she has two choices. She can get out and catch pneumonia or stay in and just get hoarse, yelling at
Yelling at the kids. Yeah.
Relaxing baths, right.
Baths and massages are both excellent ways to use essential oils. And the essential oil that you choose could be one to relax if stress is contributing to your restless leg. If you think it's kidney, then Revitalize might be a good one to add. The oils that you use for massage or in the tub would depend on where you think your restless leg is coming from.
Exactly.
So,
and I noticed in our list of 3 oils here that we covered the circulation, but we didn't cover some of the other causes so well.
Well, we'll fix it.
We'll fix it.
Okay. Warm or cool packs?
This was interesting as I talked to different people that I knew over the years that had RLS. Some of them told me hot packs and some of them told me cold packs. And I can tell you in my own day, an ice pack on there would have been death.
So that's a personal thing.
It's kind of depending here again on whether it's lymph or circulation or what is,
and some
what
people
is the cause.
Recommend alternating between the two. So, but for
that
you,
would be an inflammation thing to alternate between the two. So,
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. A lot of relaxation techniques, meditation, and essential oils work really well in meditation. When I'm stressed and meditating, I tend to pick an oil based on where I think my stress is coming from.
I tend to pick meditation.
And I tend to pick meditation a lot.
My favorite oil.
Sago lily is another one that just really helps me to relax. That's probably more of a personal thing, though I'm not sure that it's really all that relaxing of an oil. Tranquility would also be a great choice for that. So, all right. For a lot of people, me included, if I'm doing Charlie horses, exercise will help me. And mine is definitely lymph related, so that would be why for me.
If I don't exercise, if I skip 3 or 4 days in a row, I will have the twitchy in the leg that I suffered from years ago. I don't know that I've ever had an actual episode in the last 15, 20 years, but that's because I'm aware.
One interesting thing that we discovered in our studies was that exercising late in the day tended to make people's problems worse. So you're better off it doesn't?
No. I almost
Working
always
out late in the day often. Well, not for you, but
not
for some
me.
people.
I often go out and jiggle or spend 10 minutes on my elliptical just before bed to prevent any kind of.
I think that falls more in the category of staying active throughout the day. But if you're going to do vigorous exercise, morning is a better time for it if you're suffering.
Far and away. I do that.
Yeah, you only overdo exercise in the morning.
I know.
You stay active throughout the day.
I try to overdo exercise in the morning. If I get up at 5, I can do that. If I get up at 6, the employees start showing up before I've had time to overdo it, and it doesn't help.
Good sleep habits, and it's hard to sleep when you have RLS. So that's what we're talking about. Like you need to sleep or it's going to get worse. We're saying that you need to sleep when you can to prevent it.
And learn to relax before bedtime.
Yep.
That's an important one. So, comfortable bed. I laugh how much we spend on the car we drive and how cheap we sometimes are with the bed we sleep in. It's kind of a little bit backwards, I'm afraid.
Spend more time in our bed than we do our car.
Well,
most of us do.
More important to us the sleep we get than driving. You need a car that doesn't strand you, but
okay. And then if you are suffering from restless leg syndrome, don't resist that urge to move. Get up and move. Get up and put an essential oil on.
Move sooner rather than later.
Move sooner rather than later. It does tend to help. Let me tell them a little bit about the popcorn.
I just love this article. The gal who wrote it was just such a live, funny little thing. She said she'd suffered from restless leg all of her life, which made going to the movies in her young dating days just horrible. She'd finally discovered that if you buy enough popcorn or eat it slowly enough during a movie, but she's from an aisle seat, doesn't work if you're sitting in the middle of the place. And she credits the popcorn solution with 2 advantages. She says, first, you're doing something with your hands. She says that made her consider the fact that you not necessarily have to get up and move your legs. Movement of any kind will relieve whatever is going on.
That's interesting.
And second, the aisle seat meant that psychologically she knew she could get up and
get up if she needed to.
And then she said that makes it sound like RLS is purely mental. And she said that nobody that's ever had RLS would ever buy that nonsense. But nevertheless, psychologically unwinding that, oh no, I'm going to hurt. Unwinding that, putting her mind somewhere else made a big difference to how severe the symptoms got.
Well, it's scary when you know that any second you could hurt that badly, that fear, and then fear takes the kidney down. And
how many laps you're going to have to crawl over to get out when you have to get up and move. And anyway, I thought it was an interesting solution. If you go to a movie and you must sit, buy enough popcorn or learn to eat it slowly.
So
from an aisle seat.
In the blog that we wrote about restless leg, we only put 3 oils, and they are quiet essence, solitude, and visibility. And we're talking about each of those three, and then a couple more. I would be highly considering endo relief because of the effect it has on the lymphatic system.
Well, and anything that's kidney related, and anything that helps you absorb nutrients, like eternity,
we could definitely
have added a lot more here. I came at it mostly from the nerve or the circulation thing, because that's where mine kind of lay.
Yeah, so we'll probably add endo relief. I'm going to make myself some notes.
Quiet essence, the valerian in it, combined with lavender and orange and St. John's wort, is a premier nerve and circulatory rebuilder. It's an amazing blend. That's what I'm using on my wrist at the moment.
Steven Schroeder says that we found keeping the lymph system helps greatly, which gets rid of the trash in the body, and then taking a good quality mineral supplement. And then she put which one she uses there. I've never heard of it.
Isotonics, I have.
Isotonics D3 decreases suffering greatly. Yeah, minerals are a huge thing in keeping the lymph
got it covered system. There, doesn't she? You got the lymph. And then you got,
After studying the causes of RLS, I was a little surprised I don't have it, because my lymph has never been great, and I've always struggled with absorbing minerals.
And that's always made me wonder if it doesn't take more than one cause. The reason people don't win is because they're coming at it from kidney, or they're coming at it from, but they need to cover all the bases: the toxic overload, the lymph system, the kidney, the circulatory, the nerve. They need to hit it from more than one direction.
So solitude has an affinity for health of the capillaries and veins, but it's also a great emotional oil for helping us to relax. It's just like it says, it's solitude. It creates that environment where we feel like we're getting some us time. Yeah, even when you're not alone. So solitude is a great one because it hits both the emotional as well as hitting a physical.
Visibility is the same thing, because there's some similar ingredients in the two.
And visibility is an amazing one for vein health. It's what we actually recommend to people who are fighting spider veins, or what is it after their spider veins and they actually burst?
I don't know. It's gone right out
really
of my
ugly
head
spider veins.
Gosh, I don't know. Yeah, that word's gone right out of both of our heads.
I don't know. Capillary health,
because it's a family heredity thing.
That one is, if you know that you're going to be sitting for a long period of time, that's a great one. Like if you have to get on an airplane, or if you have a computer job, that's a great one. I mean, it actually smells pretty good too.
Please remember, though, whenever you're massaging your legs for vein health, veins run toward the heart. You will do more damage than good, no matter how good your oil is, if you're massaging your legs in a downward direction. You have to massage from the toes toward the hips. Okay, it's I can't even stress the importance of doing that.
So as far as herbal suggestions, it is absolutely important to be on a decent mineral supplement. And I would say that that's rather you're doing RLS or if you're alive.
If you're breathing, take minerals.
And mineral tea is by far and away the easiest way to absorb it. But getting up and making a cup of tea every morning, it doesn't always happen. So I try to. I absorb way better when I take mineral tea.
There are different minerals that when you make it in water is when you make it in alcohol. You should do both if you're looking for minerals.
But you can also do the tinctures. K&A or Min tincture are both excellent sources of minerals. There's another one called BHM that is bone high mineral, and that thing.
Anybody that can drink that as a tea.
That thing is nasty. Yeah, don't take that one.
It has a little bit of wormwood in it. It's nasty.
It's pretty nasty as a tincture too, but it can be hidden in juice.
Yes, the Min is pretty nice, and the K&A isn't too bad, but BHM has
but
it has some minerals in it. The other two
big
don't.
Dog.
So it's the big dog. Yeah.
When my kids break a bone, or we know we've got some serious regrowth
I should
to
be
do.
Taking for this mess.
They hit a really fast growth period. I may put them on that for a little while. They absolutely hate it, but it hasn't killed any of them yet. So
didn't kill you either when you were younger.
Didn't kill me either. No. Magnesium is absolutely essential. And magnesium and calcium go hand in hand. You need one to absorb the other. And copper and zinc are also incredibly important. And they're most easily absorbed in a liquid form. So the herbal formulas mentioned above have all three of them.
Yes.
But if you know that you're particularly short of one, taking it in a liquid form can be a great way to do that. They don't taste nasty, and they are easily absorbed. So, all right. We talked about RLS coming from perhaps damaged nerves. There are a lot of different tinctures that are built to help strengthen and rebuild the nerves, and there are many of them because some people tend to react to one herb or the other. If they're going to react to an herb, it's probably going to be a nerve formula. So there's
nervine herbs are the strongest ones there are, the most likely to create an allergic reaction.
So there's NVC, which is a nervine for children, and that is the most least likely. Yep. BBL is one that I've never seen anybody react to either. Those two are great, but there is a nerve tonic, a nerve special.
NV is another one of the big guns. NT has most of what NV has in it. NS has most of what. It's just eliminating the two families most likely to react to. So if you react to NV, you'll probably do well with either NT or NS because of the way I formulated them to avoid certain things. So.
And another interesting thing about tinctures, you can make your own. I mean, you can buy the herb pack and you can make your own. And it cuts the cost down a lot, which makes it so that most people can then afford to use it as a liniment. They make an excellent liniment. But again, you're going to want to start at your heels and rub up.
Yep.
And they're great to relieve the symptoms like immediately. BBL would probably be my first choice. I'd grab a BBL and rub it up my leg.
For sure. Yeah.
Anytime.
Absolutely.
Any type of twitching.
I keep a 4-ouncer in my bathroom because it does for sleep.
My legendary Charlie horse, my one and only, was 2 pregnancies ago.
Never had one.
And you can bet that she got a phone call in the middle of the night when that thing had finally passed. Okay, what in the heck? And how do I never do this again? That's what she said was BBL at my legs, and I did faithfully for the rest of that pregnancy.
Yes.
And I didn't do them with the last one, so this is good.
I used to do those. I used to take a stack of folders to church with me so that I could sit with my feet tipped. Where am I? I could sit just slightly tipped. If my toes were higher than my ankles, I was less likely to do one.
I want to read this comment.
Okay.
She's talking about the isotonics product and how it was created to absorb quickly. That's probably worth looking into.
Isotonics is, I used to,
98 to 100% of the minerals are absorbed into the system. I don't sell the product, but I love it. So real quick, where did you get the product? That would be important. Maybe you already said that earlier.
You can probably Google it and find it.
Yeah.
I can't remember. I think the person who used to sell it, I don't know. I don't know why I quit using it.
Yeah, I'm always looking for a good way to absorb minerals. I
nervine thing.
Just like variety.
Copper and zinc. You mentioned magnesium and potassium, but I find that the copper and the zinc are essential to me.
Hugely important. Yeah. Now tell us a little bit about copper and zinc.
Well, no, but I'll
Zinc, I know, and copper both play a huge important part into my hair. When my hair starts falling out or getting thin or not being as lively as I want it to be, copper and zinc both play huge issues into that.
They do for my fingernails.
And copper has been linked to hair going prematurely gray. So that's interesting. I went to a lecture once where a really funny doctor, he's hilarious, but he stood around the room and he goes, everybody out here with white hair, raise your hand. And a lot of older people raise their hand. He goes, there's a lot of copper deficiency in this room. And it just cracked me up. So she put that link in there for us. I appreciate that.
Oh, good. Very good. All right. Thank you, Karen.
Okay. So a couple of, we talked about endo relief. We talked about revitalize. Endo relief is the major lymph essential oil, and revitalize is my favorite kidney one. What's your favorite kidney oil?
My favorite kidney one. Surprisingly enough, Quiet Essence that we listed.
Quiet Essence is a good kidney one. I like the revitalize.
Don't know why. Revitalize is a good lymph one too. It's also a good circulatory oil. Of course, Vitality is my favorite one for that. Revitalize is what I do on your dad's legs when he goes
into his.
Absolutely. I balance these
running stance.
And I rub it up his. I go a little nuts with I have done since he's burns.
There are a few homeopathic remedies that tend to help with RLS. And on the Butterfly Express website, they are sold as blessed waters. So let's just go over those really quick. When taking homeopathic, you need to make sure that the emotional picture and the symptoms picture matches that remedy. So based on what we're going to say here, the key components, that's not enough information to take it. If the couple of things we're going to say about it fit you, go read about it, make sure that,
But there are some homeopathics that are what they call polycrests that most people at some point.
And the first two are polycrests.
And the first two are definitely polycrests. Arsenicum, we think of it as a homeopathic for flu.
That's what I think of it
or even for headache. But the thing runs to pages in a good Materia Medica. It covers every system of the body somewhere.
It's definitely the first one to reach for if you're doing RLS.
The description, twitching and spasming and burning and restlessness and must move feet or legs constantly or be walking about, cramps in the calves.
That one's going to fit any RLS.
Arsenicum, and it's going to, and The emotional pattern of that one is pretty basic because it literally is a polycrest. It fits most of us most of the time. And basically it's, well, I'm under stress for some reason or another.
Well, arsenicum's just one you should have in your cupboard, because if you call us when your kids are throwing up, and that's going to be the number one thing we're going to tell you.
The first thing I'm going to say is, do you have an arsenicum?
And homeopathics are cheap. So that is definitely in the top 10 of the homeopathics tab. Rhus toxidendron was probably among my top 10 too.
It is a nerve remedy predominantly, especially nerves in the legs and the feet. So that makes it an excellent one for.
And one of its symptoms is better from heat. So like my mom, when she does any type of restless leg, she's going to put a heat pack on. She's not going to put a cold pack on. Those people would do better reaching for this Rhus toxidendron.
Yep, that is true. Rhus tox is a nervine overall. It's the one I've been taking for this thing in my wrist I'm doing. So
yep.
Anyway.
Okay, the next one is
tarantula.
Hispanic.
Tarantula.
It is tarantula.
That one is pretty unique. You've got to have a person that not only needs to move, but needs to move almost hysterically. If you've ever heard that piano song Tarantella,
I have.
Well, that's what this that's what this remedy is.
So it's not for restless leg syndrome that comes on slowly and gradually. It's for like it hits right now, and you're like, okay, I gotta get up, I gotta move.
But they move like that anyway. It's like they're these mover people. They're always in motion all the time, and when they're forced to sit still, like in a long meeting or to work on a computer thing or to do a live. Yeah.
I don't sit still well. I'm a mover and a shaker. So if I ever did restless leg, I'd be definitely looking at
I would look at this one for you. Yes.
Okay. The next one is
zinc and metallicum.
Zinc and metallicum. And it's interesting because we talked about zinc being a mineral that is necessary, especially for people who are doing restless leg syndrome, and the homeopathic picture covers a lot of the nervous leg syndromes, and it seems to cover the nerve.
The cause of your nervous leg is mineral deficiency, this one could possibly fit you.
Could be the one that you're looking for. Cell salts are a little different than blessed waters or homeopathics.
It's by how you take them.
And yeah, they are. There are two that really tend to come up a lot for restless leg syndrome, and that would be MagPhos number 8, which is a magnesium phosphate, and it's fine tremors of the extremities, muscular tension, nervous tics, and muscle twitching. People who just don't sleep well.
For me, I always had this little tick in my left eye. And when it started to tick in the corner of my eye, you could bet I was going to do restless leg symptoms. And MagPhos was for me.
I've done that tick in my eye once in a while.
Yeah. The two follow. There's a nervine.
That might be the hereditary thing they're talking about.
Yep.
I've never done restless leg, but I've done that tick occasionally. It typically means I need more sleep.
Like I said, it hasn't even bothered me in years and years, but then neither has the restless leg, because I finally found the answers and I stay right on them.
Well, and Mag will test up for me. I will have to pay attention to it tests up for me when I'm doing that eye tick. I haven't done that eye tick for a long time. I don't know how long, years probably, but I've done it a few times in my life.
The other cell salt is Caliphos. Before we talk about it, cell salts, they're very low potency, but I think what they do is they present the body with, oh, this is the pattern you need to look for and absorb. I believe that you can be taking all these minerals, you can be eating the right foods. If your body hasn't been told, oh, look, I need this, and here's some. I think that's part of what a cell salt does, is it presents it with a pattern to look for. So Caliphos is potassium, and so if
potassium phosphate.
Potassium issue.
So potassium helps regulate the transfer of nutrients to the cells. So yeah, it's an absolute wonderful one.
Has to do with uptake. So
yep.
I use my cell salts not for the nutrition, because they're not. They're an energy frequency, but to teach my body how to uptake what I'm already feeding it, but it doesn't seem to know it's there.
Yeah, and Caliphos would be indicated when it's just agitated nerves, fatigue, impulsive behaviors, headaches, mental strain.
Under a lot of stress.
Those are a lot of the indications for this remedy. So this is what we know about restless leg. These are the things that test up the most for people, and this is the things that we have found that have helped people in the past. We are really, really grateful for the things that we know about essential oils and herbs and homeopathics. We love them. We're grateful for them. And if you
how nice.
ever watch this,
your brother kind of forced you down those roads.
She didn't have to drag me kicking and screaming.
I did not. No.
If you were watching this blog in the future and you have questions, feel free to comment on it and ask them, even if it's yours.
The isotonics link, you're going to put that up somewhere for people?
It's going to be in the comments forever.
Okay, good.
So that's, yep,
I'm going to check that out again.
If it doesn't say, I'm pretty sure it does. Isotonics is spelled ISOTONIX. So, yeah, I'm going to go look into it too. Well, it's been an educational day, and I would tell you what our next live's about, but I don't know. So
I think, aren't you going to
can't remember.
tolerance?
That one's in July.
Oh.
We have another June one. I just don't remember what it is.
Well, I don't either.
I usually look them up before we come in and do this.
Because you haven't told me.
It's going to be next week. It'll be next Wednesday, and it'll be at 2 o'clock in the afternoon because I have swimming lessons. So I can't do 10 o'clock in the morning.
It'll be what time?
2. You okay
and
with
it's
that?
Next week?
Next Wednesday.
Okay.
We usually go 2 weeks, but 2 weeks from now, I will be on vacation. Yay for me.
Is that why it's next week?
So we're doing 2 back to back.
She doesn't trust me to run this computer on my own, and that's really wise.
Well, I don't remember what the topic is, but
okay.
Yeah. Okay, we'll see you next week at 2 o'clock, and we'll have a fun and interesting topic. Thanks for checking in.